I didn't know coming home the world was going to fall apart.
There's crazy drama happening in the Slaton family. Reportedly, Tammy was recently kicked out of her house, and she was kicked out by her own sister Amanda. But why? What happened? Are the two of them fighting? What is this actually about? And where does Tammy live now? Here's everything we know. According to The Sun, Tammy was recently forced to move out of her house. In November, she was kicked out by Amanda, who actually owns the house that Tammy was staying in. The house is located in Sturgis, Kentucky, and it's where Tammy was living for more than a year. She reportedly moved in right after she left rehab. She needed a place to stay, and it seems like Amanda offered her this house. So Tammy started renting it, and it really seemed like everything was going well. But then out of nowhere, a bunch of reports came out about Tammy and Amanda's relationship. It looks like the two of them have been fighting a lot lately. The Sun said that the sisters just weren't able to get along. They spoke to a source close to Tammy, and this person apparently said that Tammy and Amanda fought worse than cats and dogs. Another source alleged that they had several intense arguments recently. One of those arguments stood out as particularly crazy. Apparently, Tammy and Amanda actually fought at Caleb's funeral. Caleb was Tammy's estranged husband, and when he passed away, Tammy was left shocked and heartbroken. She still had feelings for him, and he meant a lot to her, so it makes sense that she was really upset about his passing. The funeral must have been super emotional for her, which is why it's so shocking that she and Amanda reportedly had an argument during the event. You have to wonder what happened. Why would they argue at a funeral? Tammy must have been in a very emotional and vulnerable place that day, so I can understand that she might have been slightly on edge. But what's weird is that Amanda allegedly engaged in a fight with her. I mean, you'd think that she'd just be supportive of Tammy that day. As her sister, she should have just been there for her, if you ask me, even if Tammy was being a little unreasonable. But instead, they apparently argue. I don't know who started it or what actually happened, but it's still pretty insane to think about. And if this fight happened in public, it also must have been really upsetting for the other attendees. I mean, you don't want to see people arguing at a funeral. That's just kind of disrespectful. But at the end of the day, what this does show is that there was clearly a lot of tension between Tammy and Amanda. If things were so bad between them that they couldn't even keep it in at Caleb's funeral, well then I guess we shouldn't be shocked that Amanda kicked Tammy out of her house. But where is Tammy living now? Reportedly, she moved in with another one of her siblings. Tammy now lives with Chris. His house is apparently about 38 miles from Amanda's house, but it doesn't look like Tammy will be staying with Chris for too long. She's supposedly already looking for another place to rent. It looks like she's found a house near Chris's, and she wants to move there as soon as possible. Still, it's nice that Chris agreed to take her in. I wonder if that means that he's on Tammy's side in all this. I mean, he might be neutral. Maybe he's not on Tammy or Amanda's side, but he still offered Tammy a place to stay because she obviously needs somewhere to live, and Amanda didn't want her in her house anymore. I actually think in some ways this was a long time coming, especially after what happened a couple of months ago, because Tammy and Amanda didn't just fight at Caleb's funeral. They also had another crazy fight, and this one apparently even turned physical. In July 2023, reports came out that left everyone shocked. It was said that the production of the show had to be put on hold, all because of the huge fight the sisters had. Allegedly, Tammy, Amanda, and Amy had a massive argument. They supposedly really got into it, and then the fight turned physical. According to reports, Chris was also involved in the fight, but he didn't actually physically fight his sisters, which is definitely a relief. But it's still crazy that this all happened in the first place. I mean, why were they arguing? What are they arguing about, and why is it so intense? The fight was allegedly so bad that it made the production crew feel really uncomfortable. The family was filming for the show, so the cameras were there for the fight, and so were the people operating them. And the crew didn't appreciate the siblings' behavior. They didn't want to keep working with them. So the production company then gave everyone a break, and the filming stopped for a while. Like I said, all of this is obviously really shocking, but it also kind of explains why Amanda kicked Tammy out of her house. Clearly, these two have had tension for a while now. So if they haven't been able to work out their issues, then maybe it's for the best that they keep their distance from each other. But there's another person involved involved in all of this that we need to talk about, and that's Amy. Allegedly, she was also part of that huge fight that turned physical. So where does she fit in all of this? We know that after Amy and Michael split up, she moved in with Tammy, so she was probably living in Amanda's house too. What's more, her new boyfriend Tony Rogers later moved in with them too. Amy and Tony got together in May 2023, and by August, they were reportedly living together, with Tammy being in the same house too. But now that Tammy doesn't live in the house anymore, the question is, where is Amy? Is she still in the house? Did Amanda let her stay, or did she kick her out too? The truth is, we just don't know. But if Amy and Tony are still in Amanda's house, what does that mean? Are Amy and Tammy fighting too? Is Amy on Amanda's side? Are we going to see a crazy divide between the siblings? Is it Tammy and Chris on one side and Amy and Amanda on the other side now? That would definitely be crazy, especially since we know that Amy and Tammy always used to feel kind of isolated from their other siblings. So it would be intense if they were suddenly the ones that didn't get along. Then again, we don't know if this is the case. We have no idea where Amy and Tony are staying right now. They might have also moved out, or they might be about to. There's a lot we just don't know about the situation. But what I do find interesting is that it seems like all of this started around the same time Caleb passed away. The fight that turned physical reportedly happened the same month as his funeral, which makes me think that maybe Tammy was in a really bad place, and instead of being there for her, her siblings turned against her. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but the timing of this just seems really strange. Tammy was grieving back then. She was going through a lot, and it's crazy that on top of all this, she also had to deal with the tension in her family. I honestly hope that she's okay, but if there really was so much drama between her and Amanda, maybe it's all for the best that the two of them don't interact right now. Taking some time away from each other might be good for them. But what do you guys think? Why do you think Amanda kicked Tammy out? And why have they been fighting so much? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below.